Shields up, Iron Breakers. I'm here today with a special edition of the Kast. We are at Nintendo headquarters in Portugal, and I'm here with my good friend Jorge Vieira. I'm going to call him by the English version of the name, George.
George.
I'm sorry, George. First, I guess we should ask, what is your current position in Nintendo? Because I don't even know anymore. I don't know.
Okay, my current position is product manager.
Product manager. Okay.
From the early days as a PR officer, now since 2017.
2017.
Yeah, the end. Yeah.
Which is when the Switch launched. You were promoted to product manager.
Yeah. Lots of people still remind me because of the events during the launch of Nintendo Switch. We went to Switch and lots of videos that became memorable.
You guys made a video, and I was in the video, and the piece that you chose of the video was like, oh yeah, milking the cow. Because there was a 1-2 Switch minigame about milking cows, and
yeah. It became like a meme.
Yeah, it was
forever.
It was a meme video. Yeah. But the reason I wanted to talk to you is, number one, we haven't hung out in ages, so I figured this is a good excuse. Literal years, actually.
Literal years. Yeah.
It might have been,
we had a pandemic.
Yes, we had a but it's like, it wasn't just the pandemic, because like one of the last times we saw each other might have actually been that Switch event even.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's been a long time, because then you also got moved to another position, but you always struck me as someone who is very passionate about games, and that's kind of like one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. So one of the first things was, you actually gave me a chance in Portugal, and very few people did because of this. Like, we're doing content in English, and most of the companies that operate in Portugal, they'll be like, oh, we want people that speak Portuguese. So why was that? It's like, for people, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. It's like, I always tell this story, though, on my stream all the time. I tell people like, so yeah, I just emailed the person responsible for PR in Nintendo, and, you know, a couple of weeks after I was in a meeting with him, and that was it. And that was him. Whenever I tell that story, it was him.
No, it's simple. I always try that, at least during my good old days at the PR job, to basically embrace everyone that wanted to discuss Nintendo and get some coverage of Nintendo games and consoles in Portugal. And for me, the language wasn't a barrier, basically, because I don't know right now if it's still the same, but some years ago, I think lots of people, even, I speak for myself, I have a kid, which is 17 now, so no longer a kid. Yeah. But some years ago, he was also into games, and he followed a lot of channels, not only in Portuguese, but also in English.
Also in English.
So, and not so many guys, Portuguese guys, doing basically coverage in English.
Yes.
But he also follows in English, and I always thought that language is not a barrier here. It shouldn't be. So if you are Portuguese, but you want to basically build a channel in English, why not?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, a lot of the games that come out on the Switch here, they are in English.
Yeah.
We don't really have a lot of localization, unfortunately. Limited budget. Yeah. But so when I came here for the meeting, I basically asked you to give me a Wii U.
Those were the days. Those were the days.
Can I have a Wii U?
Yeah,
it wasn't like that. It was a little bit more, no, I'm thinking about covering. And then you're like, well, I can loan you one, maybe.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, how about, can I have any game I want for the Wii?
Yeah. You can imagine how many people, how many outlets that come and go, and basically come to us and tell us, look, we're very passionate about games, we're very passionate about Nintendo, we want to make coverage. And basically what we always told them, hey, we are very happy that you wanted to contact us, but of course have limited resources, so it depends. Obviously it depends on the resources that we have available at the time. If we have consoles to loan to outlets to get some additional coverage, fine. If we don't have, basically it's especially is a relation of trust that you build along the years. I think that's what we've built along the years. We've built a relationship of trust. Even when I got out of PR, I passed the info to Gonzalo, which is now the PR officer. Look, these guys, can trust them 100%. They won't run away with the consoles and the games for another country. All that stuff. Of course, I'm joking.
It was interesting times because basically I left here and I bought a Wii U the same day. I just like went to Fnac and I'm like, yeah, it was like a bundle or something, and then I was like, give me games.
Hell no, I
want games.
Yeah, but of course it's obviously depends on also on the maturity of the, in your case, streamer or YouTuber, because you quickly understand who are the people who are on this for the long run, and who are the people who basically are very passionate, but after some weeks, some months, basically it's a tiring tiring job. It's not so easy as usually people think about it, being a YouTuber or streamer.
This is not me saying it, okay? Like he has contact with other talent and other creators, so he knows the rate of burnout that people suffer, and is like, I'm not saying it's a hard job, because there's also that notion, it's like, oh, it's so hard. It's like, no, it's not that hard. But it requires dedication, and it requires a certain amount of discipline and investment, because otherwise it's whatever. So one of the main reasons I wanted to get the Wii U, though, was definitely Monster Hunter.
Of course.
What do you think about Monster Hunter?
What do I think? I think that in Portugal, at least to my knowledge, it has slowly been growing the community. Especially compared to some years ago, which was very, very niche.
Yeah.
Did it?
Oh, yes, 100%.
And I think the community, the fans, Portuguese fans, helped a lot to build up that community, because there were a lot of newcomers that got into the game, because the oldest Monster Hunter fans were very keen to help to groom guys to learn to
groom
play.
Is maybe not the best word.
You're not one of those guys.
No. Groom is not the best word. To train them and to teach them. Yes,
to
like
train,
this.
to teach them.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those games that you need somebody to kind of like come in and show you the ropes, because I hated Monster Hunter the first time I played it, like back in the Wii. I was like, I don't like this game. I don't know why people like this game. This is trash. I hate it. But yeah, have you been playing Monster Hunter Rise?
Not so many. In the last few months.
But no, but not in the last few months. When it came out.
When it came out, I played a little bit, but I'm not a very good Monster Hunter player. I've never been.
I have to go watch my tutorials.
Yeah, I know. I know, but like you said, it's almost like the creator stuff. You need discipline. I think you need discipline to learn. And basically, when I tried not so many hours on Monster Hunter Rise, but on the Wii U, I tried
on 3 Ultimate.
On 3 Ultimate, I really tried to really get into the game. I thought I was getting better and better, and then suddenly, nah. When I played with some more experienced players, I'm just here basically confusing these guys. They were waiting for me. So,
but it's fine. That everybody's got to start somewhere. We got to play together sometime. Then I can kind of like train you a little bit.
We can try.
So, how did you get started in the industry?
In the video games industry,
not just on Nintendo, on video games industry.
That's a long story.
Not like a super, but like give me like the bullet points.
The bullet points.
Yeah.
Basically, well, I started playing video games in the 80s. If you want to get back to that, my passion comes from the 80s, from arcades, from ZX Spectrum at the time.
ZX Spectrum, yeah.
Spectrum, it was the platform of choice for any Portuguese kid at the time.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Then basically, I played Commodore Amiga. after that, I played on PC. I played afterwards.
Took you a while to get to the NES then.
Yeah. Because at the time,
Yeah, there
Nintendo
wasn't
console.
that many. There wasn't that many in Portugal. Yeah.
Usually now it's easy. People, especially the younger kids, usually why you never played in the NES or SNES? And I tell them it wasn't so common in Portugal. At least I think until the mid-90s. Because you had obviously the the pirated consoles, the Chinese, made in China, NES, and so on. But getting on official
the actual hardware,
the actual hardware, was quite hard. And in Portugal, clearly the early 90s, Sega was much stronger in Portugal through their distribution partnership.
I had a Mega Drive at the time,
yeah, because at the time it was Ecofilms that distributed Sega in Portugal, and they did a really good job of basically getting Sega consoles in Portugal. So Portugal at that stage, basically, it was a little like an outsider in the video games market, because basically Sega was really king in terms of consoles.
We're winning, yeah.
Yeah, but getting back to that, well, during that time that I was playing video games for passion, I also started to get some love for writing about video games. At that time, there was no website, so it was
you had to go for a magazine or something.
You had to go for a magazine. That the end of the 80s, you didn't have a Portuguese magazine or something like that. It was only in the 90s that you got it. So basically, I helped to write what we call the fanzine at the time, with X Spectrum, Commodore Amiga games, PC games. Basically, that was the first step to get into video games journalism. At the time. And in the end of the 90s, it was my first professional gig at video games journalism, when we had already some magazines in Portugal. It was the time that what was known B Gamer, but at the time it was B Motor Gamer. Appeared. I started to write for a magazine which was Megascore. So it was like the first.
So you started in journalism basically, but did you have like any kind of education around that? No.
In journalism? No. I have a degree on business management. So at the end of the video game journalism, it was like a time job, like something that I did. Not basically for money, but for the passion of writing about video games, because my full-time job was on business management. I started as a business consultant, so you can imagine.
That's so incredibly different. Than,
And I have like still back in some days ago, I was discussing that of people know me in the video games industry by Jorge Vieira.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I divided my alias into different the video games industry. Everyone knew me by Jorge Vieira, but my last name is Almeida. So in the business,
See, I didn't know that.
That's I don't know. I don't know if I ever shared this story in an interview or something like that. So, but yeah, and there are still some old friends of mine from that time, from the business management times, that know me by Jorge Almeida.
Yeah.
So, and it was really fun, because for example, when I got calls and someone asked, "Oh, am I talking with Jorge Vieira?" and I knew, okay, this is related.
This is from games,
from games. So it was very easy to basically manage things.
Yeah. And then from there, you went to do PR for Nintendo.
And then I left the business management. I got full time on video games.
Oh, you went full time on journalism.
Yeah. In the beginning of the 2000s, I was working at Megascore, and then on Hype, video games magazines. I wrote a lot about video games.
Damn.
Usually, I joke that I helped, for example, PlayStation to basically get bigger and bigger in Portugal because I reviewed a lot of PlayStation games at the time for Megascore and for Hype and even for official PlayStation magazine. So, so it was like a coming full circle when I got into Nintendo because it helped me a lot. That background as video games journalism. Got into PR in Nintendo.
Yeah, because then you understand how the other side operates, and it makes things a lot more easy to navigate. Yeah, interesting. So my first actual Nintendo console, it was the Wii, and here's an interesting thing. I went from basically only playing one video game, which was World of Warcraft. That's all I played. You ever played World of Warcraft? You have?
A little bit.
What was your character? The class, just the class. A warrior?
A warrior, yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
Because I always choose the warrior. Even when back in the day, I played, for example, Diablo.
Yeah.
Always
barbarian.
Always the barbarian or the warrior class.
Yeah. Okay, so I went from World of Warcraft because I got burned out in World of Warcraft, and I saw that the Wii was being very successful with the marketing. And so I bought a Wii, and I got Twilight Princess, which was actually the very first Zelda game I ever played. And I was like, this is actually pretty good. And nowadays people tell me like, oh yeah, that one's actually one of the not as good ones. No, what do you mean? I don't understand this dialogue. Like, what's this thing about Twilight Princess that some people don't like?
Don't trust what people tell you. If you enjoy the game, it doesn't matter what people tell you. But at the time, people were coming from the Wind Waker, for example. You know that Zelda is a franchise that people get very, very passionate about their favorite games. So it was like Ocarina, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker. And when people got to Twilight Princess, people are, what's this? And I think it's always a reaction that fans get to Zelda. Even with Breath of the Wild, I think that there were some people like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I rather prefer like Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. You get always that vibe.
It's weird. I think it might be because they try to differentiate the games a little bit between each game. Like Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite Zelda, but I haven't played that many of them because like I haven't played Ocarina of Time, which is a sin. I need to do that. I haven't played Majora's Mask or anything, but the reason is because it's hard for me to play on 3DS for long periods of time. Because like and the 3DS was the console where I had, because I never had Nintendo 64, so I bought that 3DS, which was actually through you, because the 3DS was coming out in Portugal, and there was like this ambassador thing, but I couldn't get into the ambassador program, so you hooked me up with somebody. I think it was Telm. Was it Telm?
Yeah, I think so.
And Telm is somebody who also does games coverage in Portugal, in Portuguese. And I got in touch with him to buy the console that they offered him to get. Yeah. And that's how I got my Ambassador 3DS, which at the start I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if this console is going to be something that I like. But I ended up really liking it. The problem is, again, playing it long periods of time, especially if I have the option of having it on the TV. If I have a TV next to me, I can't play it. I'm like, I need to play on a big screen. Which
you're a big screen guy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge screen, but like if I have the choice between a big screen and having like a handheld, I always play it on the big screen, which I guess is why the Switch just kind of like worked for me. I like the philosophy of the Switch. Like we went from the Wii U, which had like the controller, which was kind of weird because you step into another room and it doesn't work anymore.
Well, it depends on your house.
It depends on your house, yeah. But like thick walls, and like you step into another room and that thing doesn't work anymore. And then you go the Switch. Like, what was the kind of like the philosophy that you felt Nintendo had going into the Switch? Because you were around for that change, basically.
Yeah. It was a really interesting time to see that. Basically, the last few years of the Wii U and all the stuff that people were writing and discussing about and what Nintendo should do next, and always the idea that, oh no, Nintendo should leave the hardware, and
everybody was saying Nintendo should leave the hardware market.
And so on. And obviously we weren't aware, certainly
How
disclosed very, very close to
I don't know
launch.
if you can I don't know if you can talk about this, but like how early did you know before it was public that the Switch was coming?
The first time you saw the concept, don't know at, during the you remember the day that first trailer it was
Yes.
disclosed. Don't know if we had access to the trailer earlier that day, but if we had
Earlier that day?
early that day, yeah, really, really, it's how it works, and I think that's the reason why Nintendo is really so good till until this day to keep the secrets, because when you have some very, very, very special moments
Yeah.
to poke a surprise on your fans, even internal staff are kept until the last minute closed. So I don't remember right now, but it was really, really to
Jeez.
public disc.
I would have expected that at least you guys, in order to prepare like the marketing campaigns, you at least had like a month or a week at
No.
least, but like same day
No,
is
no,
very
but
surprising.
I'm talking about the first
yeah, the
first moment.
yeah, the Switch.
Obviously, afterwards, got access to more stuff, so we could start preparing. We had
Yeah.
the public in the first hands-on event in London, I think in January, before March launch, so
Yeah.
some time to prepare stuff. But usually, it's really tight deadlines. So that's also one of the reasons that at that till that magic moments that when you get something that you
weren't expecting.
that you didn't see it coming from anywhere, and I think very, very difficult to basically achieve those magic moments at this
Yeah.
time and day.
And
Because usually everything gets leaked, everything gets publicly announced before the official date.
in modern days, there's like this, people just feel this necessity to consume information instantly. And it's something that I actually find very frustrating because, like, for instance, YouTube will have cycles for a video game in which a video game is relevant. And then after that cycle, like, it's no longer in the algorithm. So making videos about that video game becomes increasingly hard because, you know, your channel just starts going down the drain if you keep, oh, but I really like this game. It's like, yeah, but that was like a month ago. That's when that game mattered. Now it doesn't matter anymore. And it's very frustrating for me a lot of times because, like, it'll be games that I miss because, oh, there's something about Monster Hunter I have to cover because that's like the main topic in my channel. And then, you know, you miss one or two things. Like, for instance, I never finished Persona 5, which has actually come out on the Switch now. And it's funny because when Persona 5 came out, I always said, like, I want this on the Switch. Like, these visuals look like this would run fine on the Switch. It took them God knows how many years before it came to the Switch. But yeah, it's like you end up missing on some things. And I feel like it's weird that a lot of people don't want to be surprised. Like, trailers nowadays give away too much. Like, I have a complaint. Remember Xenoblade 2? Remember how they spoiled that Rex dies in the trailer?
Okay, but yeah.
Come on, justify that. Come on, tell me.
It really depends. I think each development team, when even the trailers, when obviously a lot of thought goes into preparing the trailers. Look at Tears of the Kingdom, for example. Before this last trailer, I was checking feedback from the communities, and everyone was saying,
Looks like the same.
"Looks like the same."
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Looks like the same. There's so very few info about the game. No, we don't know about dungeon story mechanics. We don't know anything, and it's like, yeah, but if you want to keep that magic moment, that secrets.
I call that the joy of discovery, and it is something that I feel like we've lost as the gaming community as a whole. a large portion of the gaming community no longer values the joy of discovery. And it's very sad because, like, for instance, with Tears of the Kingdom, I am like covering the trailers and doing like little bits of analysis and content. The main reason why I do it is because I don't have a lot of Zelda videos on the channel. And so I need to have a bit of a backlog of videos on the channel so that when I do more coverage on Zelda, then the YouTube algorithm picks it up and like, oh, you've done this in the past, so we can recommend your videos. That's kind of how it works. Because if I had my way, I wouldn't see a single trailer. I wouldn't see a single thing to experience everything fresh, because that is way cooler. So like, for instance, the joy of discovery moment, I already had it when you had the gameplay showcase. And, you know, he showed like, oh, we can glue this thing together. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if it's the majority of gamers nowadays. I hope not. I still hope that the majority of gamers, or at least Nintendo fans, still enjoyed that joy of discovery and still want to not check too many trailers, not check too many info, keep some surprises for themselves. Because if not, obviously, Zelda promises to be a huge world with lots of stuff to discover. But if everyone wants to basically spoil everything on the internet, you lose that. You lose that. And I also think even for developers, for game developers, I think even for them, they want to see that spark in the eye of people when they try the game and they are discovering something new. Because they worked so many years in the game.
Yeah,
that's what makes them really, really happy about seeing people playing their games, I think.
Have you played Tears of the Kingdom yet?
A bit. Sure.
No, I've seen like footage because I think that embargo was lifted earlier this week. I've seen people like making planes and planes made out of. Just before I came here, I saw a Twitter video where was it Gene Park? No, I don't think it was Gene Park. I think it was somebody else. They basically made a flying thing from a balloon that inflated with fire, and then it had like a propeller fan in the back. Like,
And at least what I've already read about the reactions of the people who already tried the game, they were really surprised about combinations that you can make, like when you have the shield and a fan, and you can use the shield with a fan to basically propel the enemies.
Yeah.
So and. It's those kind of surprises that are okay. Spoiled.
Yeah.
It's already spoiled, because if it was brand new for everyone back in the days that we hadn't internet, that would be brand new for everyone. So imagine every single person that was going to play the game for the first time when there is a fan, and if I stick the fan to the shield, and if I use it, what happens?
It's the experimentation it was kind of like the discovery that we had even in Breath of the Wild, when you see all of the different elements kind of like interlinking, like, oh, if I set fire to this thing, then it starts to burn, it starts to spread because of the wind. And then because of the wind, it also creates a draft upwards because there's fire, and it creates air up, and you can cut down a tree, and now it's a raft. And this is magical moments, essentially, when we got to try that out.
I think it basically unlocks what could praise the most. It's the capacity of your imagination. Basically, you start to think, oh, really, I can do this, and it really works. And when you start to check it out, and okay, I'm going to try this and this and this and this.
It's like stop. There were some people that were using I don't remember what it was, but it was like a metallic thing that you had in Breath of the Wild, and they would use stasis, then hit it, then get on top of it, and there's you could do some crazy stuff with that. That was a lot of fun. I think that in a way, Tears of the Kingdom actually takes a lot of inspiration from the crazy stuff that people did in Breath of the Wild, and just said, oh, you want to do that? Okay, we'll just make that a system in this new game, and there you go.
Yeah, I think the idea is a little bit to have like a playground where you can run free your imagination. So, and you don't feel like constricted to follow a specific path, or obviously there are there are different kinds of players, and I'm sure that a lot of players will want to go straight to through the story and get to the end of the game just to check the story. I think Breath of the Wild also proved us that people there are lots of people that they try to follow the story, but that's point in the landscape. Okay, I'm going there just and then when they notice, forgot about it.
I think that was one of the things in by the way, in 2017, which is when Breath of the Wild came out, that is what I named my personal game of the year, because we've reached the point when it comes to open world games that a lot of open world games just follow that formula of like, you climb a tower, then it unlocks like 50 points of interest, and then you go and you do the 50 points of interest, which is like 3 different variations of the same thing over and over. And a lot of open world games kind of like suffer from this. And in Breath of the Wild, it kind of felt like, oh, that looks interesting over there. I'm going to go over there. And I don't think there was a single time where I saw something like from far away and I'm like, that seems like something will happen there. There wasn't a single time that I didn't go there and there was something there. Like somebody thought of an event, or even if it's something just, oh, there's a Korok seed here or something like that.
What Korok seeds?
How many hours did you put into Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild is the cartridge that never got out of my personal Switch.
I think that's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah. And for example, I play a lot of, especially indie games.
Yeah,
really dig playing those games. But the cartridge that was there almost every single time was, I don't know, 100 hours.
Rookie number.
Yeah.
I don't know how many hours I put into Breath of the Wild, because I had to I played it on the Switch that you guys loaned me, and then I had to bring it back, and then I played it on the Wii U. And then you gave me a Switch, and then I played it on the Switch. So it was like spread throughout all of those. I probably must have made like, I don't know, 300 hours, something like that as well. Yeah, I played a lot of it, and I haven't even done everything. I haven't, because of what I told you earlier, that like every game has like a certain life cycle on the YouTube algorithm. And this year I'm kind of fighting a little bit back against that, because I'm playing things that you wouldn't see me play on my channel. Like, for instance, I played Fire Emblem Engage. Which was the first Fire Emblem game that I really played, because like I played Three Houses. You sent me a code like when that came out, and I played a little bit of it, but I didn't play too much. But Engage, I was like, no, let's actually do this properly. And chat convinced me to play Classic Hard.
Do you enjoy it?
Yes. But I did lose a character very early on in the DLC map, and it was funny because it was a map where supposedly you're recruiting like an ally or something. And I'm like, but this character died when we were being tested by an ally, and she killed my friend. That's very sadistic. Why would you do this?
Well,
play better.
Get good. Get good.
I'm very familiar with that.
Get good.
Have you played Dark Souls? Because that's been on the Switch.
Yeah. I played it.
Did you finish it?
No, because
come on.
I need. I said you need time and discipline to invest in those. I think I have discipline, but I don't have that to invest in those kinds of games.
Time is a very, very rough one when it comes to.
Sadly.
But did you enjoy it? How did you like Dark Souls?
No, I enjoyed it. Especially, for example, for the Switch version, I enjoyed the port, because I thought
it was
curious.
Very good.
I was curious to see how it would run, especially on the handheld, and it ran quite well. Even the controls.
Yeah.
I fear that it was going to be. It's already a difficult game. Playing on handheld, I thought, okay, this is going to be really hard. But no, I think it got really. The controls really well mapped.
The biggest problem, in my opinion, with the controls was that, you know how on the Switch A is to confirm?
Mm-hmm.
On Dark Souls it's not. It was B, and it was like, oh.
You have basically to switch.
Yeah, you have to switch your brain. It's very weird, because then I would want to swap it, but then it would also swap the dodge button, and I was like, oh, there's something here. But the port itself, I thought that the performance was good. I even made I think I streamed it and I called it Nintendo Souls or something like that. And I streamed it when it came out, and it was fun. I thought it was well done, and I was hoping that From Software was going to port the other ones too, because they stated at one point when the Switch was just out or something like that, Miyazaki said something like, "Oh yeah, we have Dark Souls 3 running on the Switch," and I was like, "What? What do you mean?"
Yeah. So I think technically it's already proven that can get also those games running on Switch. I think it's basically just a decision or in terms of
how much you have to take away visually, kind of.
Basically.
You have to make that decision. And it's interesting that you say that technically can work, because there's a studio in particular that I want to bring up, which is Monolithsoft. How familiar are you with Monolithsoft?
Quite familiar. not so much invested in their games as I wanted.
I can't believe you would say this.
As I wanted to, because those kind of games that you really need to invest time. For example, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I
haven't finished Xenoblade Chronicles 3 yet.
Yeah, like 12 hours, 13 hours. It was easier to get more time when I was doing PR stuff.
Yeah.
Because I had to know really, really well the games.
Talking points. Yeah.
Talking points. Oh, not so much. But it's those kinds of games that I know that if I start playing and I don't stop, I'll basically be playing them almost every single time when I go to bed, when I have some time. And I have to basically discipline myself to stop it. So to not invest even emotionally so much on the game, because I know it will basically get me sleep time, rest time.
But before we go further, because I want to talk more with Xenoblade about you, but I wanted to ask you one thing. What's the best game that came out for the Wii U?
The best game that came out?
The best game that came out for Wii U. I have the answer. I know the answer. I will accept no other answer other than what I'm about to say.
I know what your answer is, for sure.
You do?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure I know it.
Okay.
But for me, I don't have best.
You don't have a favorite son.
No, I don't have favorite sons. I have a game that I really, at the time, loved to play to death on Wii U. It was Splatoon.
Splatoon is a good game. It's not really my kind of game, but I respect what they did with Splatoon. I think it's very good. Yeah. I was pissed off at Splatoon. I'll tell you why in a bit. There's something in Splatoon that annoyed me. I'll tell you why. But keep going.
But even in the Switch times, Splatoon 2, Splatoon 3 are really good. If you like those kind of games, really loved it. But your take on Wii U?
No. But wait. So Splatoon is your answer? The best Wii U game?
It's not the best Wii U game. It's one of my personal favorites.
It's
one
your
of my
favorite.
personal favorites.
Okay.
Lots of great games on Wii U.
There definitely were. Like when people would criticize the Wii U, which is something that I found interesting, people would always be like, "Oh, it's the worst console Nintendo's ever made." And I thought it was interesting because you would see a lot of first-party games come out on some of the other consoles, and they would be running at like 30 FPS. And I remember commenting this with you, and it's like, I don't know. Everything comes out on the Wii U is 60 FPS, 1080p. Like, I don't understand. People are saying the console's bad. Seems to be running fine for me, at least with first-party titles. It's just the third party. Most people don't know how to code for the console or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But that discussion around technicalities and we got past. I think we got past over that conversation. I think. What matters really the most at the end, the fun that you get playing those games.
I agree.
And on Wii U, and I think that even when you get ports from Wii U to Nintendo Switch, and you get so many people discovering the Wii U games on Nintendo Switch, and you see the fun they're having playing.
Yeah.
See, even the most joked one, which is Mario Kart 8, that basically is like the best-selling game.
I believe it's probably one of the most played games on the Switch.
I don't know if it's not one of the most played games ever.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of people play it. Like my kid played it as well. It was one of the first games he played was Mario Kart.
And it's like, I think it's a really good testament of the Wii U creativity and power that you play Mario Kart 8 today wasn't the Wii U version.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same game.
Also, lots of years have passed, and that proves that game at that time was brilliant. So, we have lots of examples on Wii U.
Yeah, but so what game do you think I'm going to say is the best for Wii U?
It's easy. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
I thought, because a lot of people think that I would say Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which is also a very good game.
Yeah, but
Xenoblade Chronicles X is definitely, in my opinion, it's the best game that ever came out on that console. I think that studio is able to do magic with how they portray scale. They do impressive scale. Like you would come up on like the structure of New LA, which was like the main hub. Mm-hmm. Just be like, this thing is huge. You go into the elevator and it starts going up. It's like, oh my God, it's so big. Why is it so big? And it had a really cool soundtrack, which was interesting because I remember it was actually here. I was here with someone from another publication. I don't remember exactly who it was. And they were telling me about how they were writing an article about the best soundtrack on the year that Xenoblade Chronicles X came out. And I think they were choosing Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is a very good game. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. So what'd you guys think of Xenoblade Chronicles X? And he gives me a very dismissive look. And I was like, wow, damn. Because I think it's very underrated. The soundtrack in Xenoblade games, I think it's extremely underrated. I really like it. But
very talented.
Yeah, and that was something that I want to talk about because I feel like Monolithsoft is also one of the reasons why Breath of the Wild is so good because they helped out with the team. You know more about that than I would.
I think don't have anything special to share about it. No, but it's true. At the time, lots of people were discussing about it that the role that Monolith Software had on Breath of the Wild, it showed on the scale of the landscapes, on the way everything was so coherent and how it ran on Wii U and on Switch.
It was impressive. Yeah, it was very impressive. The fact that thing even ran on the Wii U was very impressive.
Most of people forget it nowadays that Breath of
the Wild ran on the Wii U.
On the Wii U, and it ran really well. So
I mean, let's not go that far. It ran okay. It ran. There was some frame rate problems here and there.
Let's start discussing frame rates, and so let's go.
Yeah, but it was still very good. Like if someone wasn't able to get a Switch, which was at the start of every Nintendo console, it's always hard to get a hold of it. If somebody wasn't able to get one, they would still be able to enjoy Breath of the Wild on the Wii.
And the jump from Wii U to Switch. You were starting the conversation, the topic when discussing the philosophy of the Switch. And I think when you think about it and the idea, the concept of the convenience that you get when you start playing on the TV, and basically you pick the console with you playing everywhere, anywhere you want to.
The same games you're playing on TV, yeah.
I still think, till this date, it still clicks. It still has that magic moment again.
Yeah, it is.
Magic moment. And I still remember when I was showing the Switch here in the showroom, there were still people skeptical about the idea.
They thought they were going to pick it up and it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, they were like, let me see how that works. And when you get the moment of the docking moment, and the image is printed on the screen, okay, it works.
See, but that's the thing. That's why the Switch works for me, and the 3DS didn't work as much. Is exactly what I was telling you about the whole screen thing. Because like, if I'm out and about, the 3DS was amazing. The moment I'm home, I don't want to touch it because like I want to play on the screen.
You want to play on the screen, yeah.
And it's not even a thing about performance because I know that for a lot of people, performance is important. It's like I don't care that much so long as the game runs and it's not like a slideshow. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter to me. Like for instance, Monster Hunter Rise is available on a lot of consoles now and PC and whatnot. My main save is still on the Switch, despite the fact that I played for a bit on PC, but I ended up going back to my save on the Switch, and that's where I have my main save right now. It's just the convenience of being able to take it with me, take it home, take it to the office, because my office is not in my home. So I have a bunch of, if I want the game at home, I have to like pick up the stuff, take it home. And the Switch is just like super convenient.
I think still the main selling point.
Do you have a dock that you don't use that I can have?
Right now? We have to ask Gonzalo. We have to ask Gonzalo for it. And joke. And for example, docks, I know a lot of people that
They'll get 2 docks.
more than 2 docks. Basically, yeah. I knew knew people that had like 2 or 3 docks in their place, and they had more 2 or 3 docks in their holidays.
Jesus Christ! Okay,
just for they didn't want that feeling that, oh, I brought my Switch and I forgot to bring the dock, and now I can.
So they
play.
just buy docks.
So they just bought like 3, 4, 5 docks just for the convenience of getting anywhere.
I'm cheap. I pick up the dock and I take it home. And
Yeah.
I'm very cheap.
And it's still a great conversation to have still to these days, because I really dig to understand why people love more to play on the TV or more on the handheld. There's still an ongoing discussion.
Yeah,
because you can't really trace a pattern that, oh no Switch, because that
Switch
was
is to be
also
played handheld. Yeah.
Switch is a handheld, and there are people, no, I only play Switch on my TV. I rarely use it as a handheld, and that's fun. That's a fun discussion to have.
Just today, I was actually playing Monster Hunter with a friend of mine in Japan, and he was telling me like, oh no, mine's been on the dock for like the last 3 years, and I was just like, no, I'm always carrying. I have it with me right now.
Yeah. That's the thing, and different players have different tastes, different habits, and I think that's what suits Switch best. It's like it really suits the needs of each player. If you get more traveling or something, which can fit your time on that. If you get more time at home, okay, you can basically play on the TV. I think it fits really.
But a lot of people are talking about when's the next one coming out. So this whole interview doesn't even matter anymore. This is just an ambush. When's the next Switch? Tell me now.
Don't know. Really don't know.
I mean, considering you only knew about the actual Switch on the day that the trailer was released, I don't think I'm surprised anymore.
That's the thing. So today, as far as I know, won't get any new console soon,
Jesus
for sure.
Christ.
Why? The question is why? Why do you need a new console from Nintendo? Look at the new releases that we are getting every single month.
Yeah, there's always new stuff coming out. I mean, it wasn't always like that. On the release year, a lot of people were calling it a Zelda machine.
That's unfair. Because if you get back to the release year, if you think about it, and you got Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe coming from Wii U, Donkey Kong coming from Wii U, but then you got ARMS.
ARMS I felt like was very underrated. A lot of people did not give ARMS the props that it is, because I remember when I was creating content for it, people were like, oh, this game's whatever, and I was like, this is a game that can be played multiplayer. You can play it with motion controls, you can play it with regular controls, and there's a strategy to it. And like, I thought ARMS was actually a really good game, but I don't think that it received the reception that people were expecting. Did you feel that?
A little bit, probably, but also because I think at the time there was also people were still a little bit skeptical about motion controls, and
yes,
ARMS used a lot of the motion control system.
But it was completely optional. You could just not use motion control at all.
True. And I think ARMS did a really, really good job of basically getting the controls right for motion.
I agree.
And it was really accessible for newcomers, but it was really complex if you started to master the controls, using the motion control system. Because
you had the punches that would arc and do all of these crazy
blocks
things. Yeah.
And all that stuff, all the combos that you could make. And I think some franchises, some new franchises click faster than others.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that is planned, but I think there are games that really need take time to flourish over time.
I enjoyed ARMS a lot, which was surprising to me that apparently a lot of people didn't know. Just like, I don't understand what the problem is, because I thought the game was fine.
But even if you, coming back to the release year, you had ARMS, you had Splatoon 2, you had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you had Super Mario Odyssey. You had a lot of games.
God, Super Mario Odyssey.
You had a lot of games.
You know that Super Mario Odyssey is the first Super Mario that I finished?
Yeah?
Yeah, it was the first Super Mario that I finished because, like, I didn't grow up with Nintendo,
Yeah.
and so I've never had this thing that a lot of people have with Mario. But because I always spoke with a lot of people from America, they would always have this, "Oh, Mario is amazing." I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And then Odyssey, there was just something about it that clicked, and I was like, oh, this is actually because you sent me the code, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out, I'll see what it's all about. But I thought I was gonna play it for a little bit, make a video, and then be done with it. But no, I kept playing, and then I finished the game, and I was like, wow, that was a lot of fun. There's a lot of creativity there. Like I really enjoyed Odyssey. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I think in Portugal it happened a lot like that. We announced recently that Nintendo Switch became the
most sold
Nintendo console ever in Portugal. A lot of people that weren't used to playing titles in Portugal back in the day.
Because the brand wasn't as strong, yeah.
And I think a lot of people got into Zelda with Breath of the Wild, for example. A lot of people probably got into Mario with Super Mario Odyssey. It was their first game that they really got into those franchises. And we saw basically that ball growing and growing and growing, and I think for sure for the future we'll have more and more people getting sooner into the Nintendo ecosystem here in Portugal for sure.
I think so too. I think that there's going to be way more people jumping into it. So I told you that I'm upset about something about Splatoon. I'm going to tell you what it is. When was it that? Jesus, my memory. COVID destroyed my memory. But like Splatoon 3 and Xenoblade 3 had a launch date that was supposed to go a certain way where I believe Splatoon was supposed to come out first. Yes, Splatoon was going to come out first, and then Xenoblade, and instead you pushed Xenoblade forward, and that was very frustrating for me because I felt that Xenoblade could have used the extra months for some polish.
Really?
Yes.
Even more polish.
Yes. Yeah. No. There were some problems in the game, in my opinion. Like, Xenoblade 3 is actually my least favorite Xenoblade game.
Ooh.
But here's the thing: a lot of people, when you hear somebody
from a scale to 0 to 1,000.
No, I don't.
So
I don't
90.
I don't do scores. I think scores are actually not very. Because like, what's the difference between a 7 and an 8?
Well, back in the day, during my times of video games journalist, that was a discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
7,
it's still a discussion.
7.5, 7.4.
I think that's weird. To me, a game is like it either speaks to me or it doesn't, and it's very hard for me to like put, I'm going to give this one an 8 and this one's an 8.2. I don't know. I don't like given values, but when I say that it's my least favorite one, a lot of people would assume, that means you don't like it or it's a bad game. And no, that's completely wrong. It just means I like the other one so much that this one just kind of like fumbled. Like things, for instance, one of the things that you do in Xenoblade is you have a lot of freedom of exploration. And in 3, you don't have that much. They kind of like wall you off very much early on. And there's other things. So I always felt that Xenoblade 3 could have used maybe a couple of more months to iron a couple of things out. But at the same time, I'm still enjoying the game. I think the game is a lot of fun.
You didn't get that stronger emotional connection with the characters and the story.
No. Whereas, like, for instance, Xenoblade 2, it had me, shedding a little bit of a tear, like within the first 2 hours of the game, something like that. It's very, very good. There's like, did you play Xenoblade 2? To completion? No.
No.
Well, like, the scene where Gramps shows up flying around, kind of making it. Yeah, that scene to me, I was like, wow, it was very well done. I thought it was very well done. But it's like, to me, the way that I look at Xenoblade is like, Xenoblade 1 has the best story. Xenoblade 2 has the best combat. Not Torna, not the DLC. The base game of Xenoblade 2 has the best combat. And Xenoblade X has the best exploration. That's it.
Okay. And for 3,
for 3, I don't know. I haven't finished the game yet. I'm like, I don't even know how many. I'm over 100 hours because I'm doing like all the side quests. I'm like 120 plus hours or something like that, but I still haven't finished the game.
Okay. It's a little bit controversial because there are a lot of people that picked Xenoblade
3 is like their favorite. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that also speaks a lot to the quality of the games when you have like these type of things. Oh, my favorite one is this one. My favorite one is that one. And again, I say it's my least favorite one. I don't think it's bad. It's just my least favorite one.
Okay, it's fair. Fair enough.
So I'm going to bring us back to Zelda about a bit of a more controversial topic.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that a lot of people didn't like in Breath of the Wild. What's the one thing that people didn't like the most in that game? Can you imagine?
Link's haircut.
No,
obviously weapons
breaking.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Like, as not as product manager, as someone who played the game, because this is one of the games that you did finish.
Yeah, I think, for me, not speaking aside, not speaking as the product manager at Nintendo, for me it worked because I understood what the developers were trying to reach with that decision. Basically, it forced you to explore, be creative, experiment with all that stuff that you are going to find out, and avoid a little bit that decision of going on playing the game in only a single way that you learned. And you got so good at it that basically you went straight to the end using the same pattern. And I think it was one of the things that developers were trying to achieve with that system. I understand why some people were getting mad at it, because it kind of forces you of not being lazy. And I think without the weapons breaking, you can get lazy if you want. If you find a really powerful weapon that you got really, really good at it, and for me it worked. But
my thoughts on that are like, I think it works for normal mode. I don't think it works for master mode.
No,
because in order for you to kill a simple bokoblin, you have to break a sword. I'm like, I don't think this is reasonable. Because it kind of feels like the game wants you to avoid combat.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
But I don't like avoiding combat. I want to do, because in normal mode, it didn't bother me, because what I did was, very early on, I found a spot that was very easy for me to go there, kill everything, and get a bunch of like medium to high end weapons. So I would just, like, every time I need weapons, I'd go there, kill those dudes, get weapons, and
get back.
So I had a farming spot for weapons. And in master mode, I would go through every one of those weapons to kill like one camp, and then I'd have to wait for the red moon for them to respawn to go get more.
But that's the thing. Probably what the game was trying to tell you is, you play don't do combat. Play it in a different way. Try it at least.
No, I did, like, my main save is a master save. I haven't killed the final boss yet because I haven't gone there, but I've done all of the beasts already, and I have a lot of stuff already done. So yeah, but I'm still playing that save, but it is very frustrating, the breaking of weapons, which is something that is coming back in Tears of the Kingdom as well.
Well, now with the fuse ability.
Yeah, you can fuse, you can do different things, but essentially they're still doing the same. I don't know if this is public yet. Is there master mode on Tears of the Kingdom on launch? You don't know.
I don't have any idea. And even if I had, I wouldn't tell you.
Okay, that's fair enough. But the breaking of weapons was just something that I feel like a lot of people didn't really appreciate. But
let's see what happens now with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
with the fuse ability.
Fuse.
It's going to be fun to see how people are going to be creative.
I want to do my favorite weapon in Monster Hunter is the Gunlance. I want to do a Gunlance somehow.
Well, you can do it. I don't know.
You can probably fuse something together. Be like, yep, here's a Gunlance. Or,
you're going to do that for sure, aren't you? You're going to try.
I'm probably going to make just a big mech that I drive everywhere, kill everything. Ever since I saw that little like square with a little arm shaking around, I'm like, yep.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I'm going to do.
I mean, I'm going to do one much bigger than that, but yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see people playing the game and just seeing where their imagination runs wild and all the outcomes they will achieve.
That you can do.
Yeah.
So this year was it this year or was it last year? I don't even know. I think it was this year. We got a return of a franchise to the Switch, and it was announced and released on the same day. And I'm pretty sure that the response was unanimously positive. At least I was streaming it. Everybody was super excited when it came out. I was super excited. I was instantly on the phone going, Saul, like, I need this. Like, what are you doing? And I even bought the physical version because I told you I've been buying a lot of physical versions. And it was Metroid Prime. When's the next ones? When I want the trilogy.
Don't know nothing about it.
But I mean, I think it would make sense that we get the other ones before we get 4.
Why?
Why just get 1 and then 4? That doesn't make any.
Why should it make sense? why things have to be logical and make sense? Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy what you get.
Just enjoy what you get. You already have Metroid Prime Remastered, so have you already finished it?
No. I've barely had. You say to yourself, time. Father of 2. There is no time.
You have to choose.
It's actually interesting because a lot of people think that as a content creator, like, oh, you spend most of your time playing video games. Like, no, I spend most of my time making videos. I play less than most other people, actually.
You spend more time with the video editor probably than with the console?
It's not even video editor. It's more like thinking up the concept of what I'm going to do next. Like this. I was like, oh, I wanna do a video. I'm gonna get on the phone with George and we're gonna have a conversation and we'll see what comes out of it. Yeah. Just having these ideas, it takes time just to like let the creativity flow. It's like, okay, how am I gonna do this? Then come up with the crazy setup that I have here.
Yeah, but Metroid Prime Remastered, for example, if you think about it, how long it is the original version and how well it stands the test of time until today.
I was very impressed because it doesn't feel like it's a remaster. I feel like a lot of the textures were actually, I don't know if they were remade or if they just had like higher resolution when they did the ones and then they lowered it down for the Nintendo. Was it on Nintendo 64 or GameCube that came out? GameCube. So I don't know if they just had the higher resolution textures already made, if they made them from scratch, but it's definitely not the same game that you played on the GameCube. And the first time that I played Metroid Prime, this was interesting because you had this trilogy that came out in Portugal for the Wii.
Yeah.
And I bought the trilogy and I played 1 and 2 back to back, and I burned out before I got to play the one that was actually for the console. So I never played. I mean, I played a little bit of 3, but I was like, oh, I played so. It's like, oh man, this cake is so good, but I've ate so much of it already. I think I'm about to puke.
Jesus.
No, but I never played 3, but I played the other ones, and I loved Metroid Prime. I thought it was really good. It was actually, again, the first Metroid that I had ever played was Metroid Prime.
You already played Metroid and Super Metroid from the NES?
No.
You never played it? Oh.
No. The closest thing I played to that was Dread. Yeah, Dread, very good. I actually bought it physically because you sent me the code, but like I said, I'm buying a lot of physical ones to have the physical version.
You enjoyed Dread?
I like Dread. I was frustrated with I had a problem with my control because like analog sticks in current generation consoles, all of them, I don't like them because I want an option to have a dead zone on the stick because people tell me that it's because I grip the sticks weird or something because not a lot of people complain about this, but it's something called snapback, which is say you push the grip all the way to the stick all the way to the front, and then you let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And when it travels back, it gives your controller just a little bit of a back input, so your character turns around. And that happened a lot in Metroid Dread. Like, I even took apart the controller, cleaned it up with rubbing alcohol, did all of the things that this needs to be precise. I was so frustrated. I think at one point I actually stopped playing with the Pro Controller and I started playing with the Joy-Cons.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa.
Because I was so frustrated. I'm going to play with the Joy-Cons now.
Whoa.
But I went all the way and I did finish the game. And I enjoyed Dread a lot. I thought Dread was very good. And yeah, it's just, to me now, the thing is, it's hard to go back because I don't have nostalgia like a lot of people have, which I think is one of the things. Like, for a lot of people, for instance, playing Ocarina of Time on the extended online pass or whatever, they'll probably do that. And it's like, oh yeah, this looks great. I boot up Ocarina of Time and I'm like, this looks terrible.
You can, yeah, because you don't have that nostalgia factor.
Exactly. I don't have the nostalgia because I never played Ocarina of Time back then. But I did boot it up recently on the 3DS. And on the 3DS, I think it looks really good compared to what it looks like on the Switch, for instance, which is kind of weird. I'm like, just put this version on the Switch. just take it put it on the Switch.
Yeah. The nostalgia factor obviously plays a factor, and well, it also depends on the games. For example, A Link to the Past.
I thought that game looked amazing on the 3DS. Yeah, but that's an older game as well, right? It was a remake of an older game or something.
No, that's Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening on the Switch.
That's the remake.
Okay, the remake.
But I thought A Link to the Past was also from a previous. No,
you can play Link to the Past on Switch Online. If the original
version,
version, and you had on 3DS, you had the Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, that's
remember?
It. Yeah, that's it. The Link Between Worlds.
When Link.
That one was really good too. I like that one a lot.
Great puzzles.
It's just, you see, the problem is at the time I didn't have that backlog. I couldn't do Zelda videos on the channel because YouTube would just like. Boom, like instantly, which is why this year I start the year and I'm like, I'm going to play Fire Emblem. I don't care. I don't care. And it was really fun streams. They weren't like super popular, but it was really fun. Played I haven't finished the game, but I've played a good long while still.
You're becoming a Fire Emblem fan. Slowly, you're getting there.
No, I like it. Like did you play Engage?
Yeah.
Did you finish it? No.
No. No. I played a lot of Three Houses.
Yeah, a lot of people.
And for example, my kid is a huge Fire Emblem fan, and he loves Three Houses. And I was telling him, you have to try Fire Emblem Engage. You have to try Fire Emblem Engage. And he was, I've already checked some info, some videos. I don't know if I want to, because the focus of games are quite distinct.
Imagine like your father literally works at. It's not like the story that some people have. It's like, I have an uncle that works at Nintendo. No, your father actually works at Nintendo.
And it's quite fun.
And he's like, yeah, Dad, I'm good. I don't want to engage. Nah.
Yeah. And he's a huge Fire Emblem fan, especially because of Three Houses.
Yeah.
I think he finished all the storylines.
So he did with the 3 things.
Yeah, the expansion.
Jesus Christ.
He really, really loved that game. And besides that, he loves, for example, Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Smash Brothers.
I will always joke with him because on Smash Brothers, Fire Emblem characters are not his first choice. And I was like, why don't you play with Marth? Why do you play with Chrome? I don't understand it. You're not really a Fire Emblem fan if you're not playing Smash Bros. with one of those characters.
It's actually a lot of people in my stream would make the meme. They would go like, "Oh look, it's Marth from Smash Brothers." They play Fire Emblem games. Yeah. It's Marth from Smash Brothers. Look.
Yeah, the crossover.
Yeah, it's
never ends.
No, but it's fun to be able to go back and play. To be able to basically play games that are like outside of your usual wheelhouse, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's whatever. But I do think that the Switch has a lot of titles that a lot of people probably aren't even like aware of. Like I see you constantly tweeting about these indie games that you're playing. Like, which one would you say is like your favorite indie game on the Switch? I'm playing one right now on the channel, by the way.
My favorite indie game? I don't know if I have a favorite. I can name you like
I bet you
20 games that I think are brilliant, and I think they really fit really well the
console?
The console because of the dock in, dock out. play the Spire. It's a really well known. If you are into,
I haven't played it at all, but that's a card game, right?
That's a card game. It's a brilliant. I think it's the best card game.
Is Slay the Spire also kind of like, oh, here's an expansion pack, and here's a? Is it like that? No.
No. It's basically no. It's much more limited in scope.
Okay.
But the concept.
But see, to me that's more appealing because like I played Hearthstone. The reason I stopped playing Hearthstone is because okay, so I have this card that costs 2 mana. And it's worthless. And my opponent, because he's been playing and he has the cards from the latest expansion, has a card that costs 2 mana, and it's the Armageddon. So it's like, there's a problem here. And it's very much a super pay-to-win game. And I'm like, I'm not interested in pay-to-win game.
But getting back to the indie, that's a lot of titles, indie titles that I really think are brilliant on Switch. They technically they run brilliantly. The concepts, there are brilliant concepts of indie. For example, I remember last year there's a game that I really love, and I didn't see very few people reviewing it or talking about it. It's called Tinykin from a French developer, I think. Basically, the concept is not so far away from Pikmin, because basically you are a very tiny character in a huge world, and you have to guide little creatures that help you to overcome puzzles. And the game runs brilliantly. The dock in, dock out, perfect. There's a game called Horus that it's like a homage to the 80s and 90s platformers that tells a story of a robot that wants to be human. It's a really, really emotional story, but the mechanics, it's like a retro platformer.
Retro platformer, yeah.
Besides all the indie games that are more popular, like Hollow Knight.
That's the one I'm playing.
Shovel Knight.
I'm playing that. Shovel Knight, I actually streamed. When you guys sent me the code, I streamed the entirety of the base version of Shovel Knight. And I suck at platform. I suck at 2D platform. Terrible. But I had a lot of fun with Shovel Knight. Yeah, it was really good. Wasn't that exclusive on the Switch for a little bit? I don't remember if it was.
I don't remember. Probably, at the beginning, probably.
Yeah, but it was very good. I thought they did a really good job. And just like the little chiptunes music and whatnot, it's very, very good.
And that's it. That's a huge catalog of indie games that are brilliant on the Switch. So even if you buy a Switch today,
sales pitch
comes the disclosure. If you buy a Switch today, it's incredible the variety of titles that you can basically get on a Switch. Because if you count the first party Nintendo titles, obviously that's what everyone says. You buy a Nintendo console to play the Nintendo games, to play Pokemon, Mario, Zelda.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the huge variety of indie titles that you already have available, even if you think about even third-party titles, you have, when you say that, Switch is for kids, but you have like Doom, Diablo, Monster Hunter, Bayonetta. You have a huge...
Bayonetta is more like a first-party title for you guys now, though.
Yeah, more and more. Yeah, but it's a very diversified catalog nowadays.
A recent one...
that comes back again to the topic, when you get a new console, why? Why do you need a new platform?
It's mostly for a little bit more performance. Like I said, to me, it doesn't bother me too much. My biggest concern, because eventually there is going to be a new platform. Like that you don't have to say anything. But eventually there will be a new platform, because it just can't be the same platform forever. That's always the case for consoles. But my biggest concern is whether or not there will be backwards compatibility. I hope there is, because like I'm buying a lot of physical games, and I don't want to be like, well, all those are gone now. So
let's see.
But like we were talking about games that run on the Switch, and like even when somebody says that the hardware is limited. One that really surprised me recently was No Man's Sky. Have you played No Man's Sky on Switch?
Yep. It was the first time I played, because I had like 30 minutes playing on the PS4. That was where I played it first. and I was like, okay, let's see how it runs on Switch, because
I was very surprised.
And I was quite confident because I already knew some hands-on. I read some hands-on from people that already played it on Switch, and everyone was saying, "Look, it's one of another miracle ports on Switch. You would believe it how well it runs on Switch." And I was okay, okay, it should run fine. Yeah, obviously, it's not the full.
It's not the super fidelity.
Fidelity, but the game. But what really matters most to me is how the game runs. What the game mechanics is. Everything here. The concept is here, and yes, it is.
The biggest thing for me with No Man's Sky on Switch was actually the sound.
The sound.
The sound is where I noticed that I think the sound is a little bit lower sample, maybe to fit it in the cartridge or something, I don't know. But that's where I noticed the big difference. Because like the visuals, it's whatever. It's going to have lower visuals. Everybody expects that. Does it run like a slideshow? No. It has a little bit longer loading screens. That's about it. But with the sound, that's when I was like, the sound takes a bit of a hit. And that's like, I think the biggest thing that you could point to it. But yeah, it's very impressive title. The console's still impressive to me, and it's an interesting thing because when the Switch was initially announced, I feel like there were a lot of features, and there are a lot of people like, "Oh, what's this? Nintendo's being Nintendo, blah 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 blah." The usual stuff, right? But now you have,
especially in Portugal.
I mean, I don't know in Portugal, because I deal with a more international audience, right? Yeah. But internationally, that was the talking points. People were like, "Oh, who cares about feeling ice cubes on your controller? Nobody cares about HD Rumble. That's so stupid." And yet now you look, for instance, at PlayStation 5 and DualSense, and you're like, "Well, why was it so stupid back then? But now it's like one of the best things."
Yeah. And it's always like when you try to do something different or something that people aren't used to, you get different reactions. I think people react it on different ways.
I think one of the things that I haven't seen used at all was the infrared thing on the right controller. Or did I miss something? Is there like a couple of games that came out that actually use that in a meaningful way? Or
now that you're talking about it, very few titles that I can remember and used it. Nintendo Labo had some
features there.
Yeah. Title Mario Kart Live use something for that. I don't remember.
Is that the remote controlled one?
Yeah, with the carts.
Yeah, with the
carts.
There's an RC Mario Kart, in case you guys are aware.
Mario Kart Live. Yeah, but if you now that you're remembering it.
Yeah, there was that I think was the only thing, because everything else on the controller was essentially used to some extent in some titles. Some would use it more, some would use it less, but
I think the one to Switch at the time.
Jesus. Yeah, that used something for sure.
If you get back to one to Switch and you remember those minigames,
used everything.
And it was quite fun.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun game. I actually remember having a friend over to properly do a video on One to Switch. I had to like invite, "Hey, come over here. You can't talk about this though. We're gonna record a video. You can't tell nobody." But I think at that point people already knew about One to Switch as well, so it's like it's whatever. But it was.
There were some crazy mini games there.
Yeah, there was some crazy stuff. There still are a lot of like interesting things coming out, but I do feel like a lot of people want that power upgrade.
Well, let's see. Let's see.
It's this one's not more powerful than. I have an OLED as well. I like the better bezel. It has a better bezel and the OLED screen, very good. But interestingly enough, the most important thing is the battery, because the original one, the battery dies too fast.
Especially when you got the original one from 2017.
Yeah, because there's another version that has a little bit of a better battery now.
Yeah, but you notice the difference.
Oh yeah, instantly.
You notice the difference, not only on the screen. Yeah, that's for sure.
So which one do you have? The OLED or the
OLED,
original?
yeah,
of
the OLED.
course.
Yeah, but one of those first games that I played on OLED was Metroid Dread.
Oh yeah, Metro. Yeah, because Metroid Dread came out at around the same time.
It was like, whoa.
It is a looker.
Yeah, it plays really well on the regular Switch, but on the OLED with the bright colors and all that stylized visuals, it's really, really nice.
Is there anything that you would like to tell anybody about the Nintendo Switch, like when Switch 2 is coming out, when Switch Pro is coming out, what new ports of Zelda we're going to be getting?
Simple. Enjoy what you have. Enjoy the present. Enjoy the moment. Everyone, please enjoy Tears of the Kingdom for sure. I bet a lot of people will get into Tears of the Kingdom without any spoilers for sure, because I see a lot of people saying that I'm not seeing any trailer, I'm not reading any previews, I'm not seeing anything.
That's the way to do it.
And we didn't spoil anything about the game, I hope.
I mean, there's a couple, the fuse mechanic and whatnot, and the
fuse. What's that?
What's fuse?
What's fuse?
I have no idea.
Yeah, and yeah. And people, I think, I see a lot of people always living in the future, always trying to predict what we'll get in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's like that's just the way the industry is set up. Everybody just has this thing, this FOMO. It's like, oh, I need to know what's coming out right now. I need to play it right now. It needs to be. It's like there's very little content consumption after a game has had its moment, kind of.
Picking on that, as I was discussing, if you want to really dig into the Nintendo Switch catalog, get a Switch console, get to see all the games available, and there are brilliant games from previous years, since 2017 until now. Yeah. There are a lot of people probably overlooked at the time. And if you really dig into the catalog, you'll surely find some really nice gems there.
Yeah, it's what I've been picking up recently. I'm picking up, like, for instance, Octopath 2 came out. I never played
Octopath 1. You never played?
I played a little, because I remember that the demo came out.
Yeah.
And I even remember talking to you. I was like, oh my God, the story of this looks amazing. I was very impressed. Then I played a little bit of it, but then something else came out that I had to cover because timing. And then I never finished it. But as Octopath 2 came out, I had been looking for a physical copy of Octopath 1, and they were selling for like 80 euros, 7. And I was just like, this game came out like. But eventually, as 2 came out, I don't know if there was a new printing or something, but I was able to get it like 40 or something like that. So I just bought 1 and 2, and I haven't touched either of them.
Nice. And for you were telling about Octopath, for example, last year, Triangle Strategy.
Yeah, I haven't touched that. I haven't touched that one either.
Play it. Please try to get it. It's I bet you'll enjoy it.
I mean, I have the digital version that you guys sent me, but yeah, I was thinking about potentially picking up the physical. It's just I have so many to play already. You know, it's like it's getting hard.
You're getting into Fire Emblem. I recommend it. Go play Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy. At least those two.
Yeah,
right.
There's so much to play, but yeah, it's definitely there's definitely a lot of stuff. But again, everybody just constantly looking to the future. Where's Metroid 4? Where's all of these things like that? That's what people are talking about.
Please finish Metroid Prime Remastered first, and then you can.
I think a lot of people already finished it. Like they instantly purchased it, finished it in like 2 days. I was like, Jesus. That was actually one of the things that I forgot to talk about, which was motion controls. It has the motion controls. This was interesting when I was in the during the Wii days. I remember that when I first played Metroid Prime, I was like, oh, this is the future. Like, why would anybody want to aim with an analog stick? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What year is it that you're aiming with an analog stick? And yet, the industry didn't take, which is so weird to me.
Yeah.
It's like it just feels much better to aim. I don't understand.
Well, on VR, you already have.
Yeah, on VR, you have that. Yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes some technologies take time to basically to get
but
it.
when I
widely
do play
adopted.
remastered, I'm going to play it with the Wii controls. I'm like, because that's the way to do it.
Well, at least you have the option to play it
Yes.
as you want. So you aren't forced to play
Yeah,
in a
I'm forced to
specific
play
way.
anyway. Yeah, I think that is what a lot of people want. They want the option to play one way or the other. Whereas I'm more like, no, let's just go full steam ahead, motion controls. I don't care. I don't care if you're mad, motion controls.
And if you are really, really good at it, probably you'll enjoy it much more the experience.
Because like even Splatoon
It's
has
like get good with motion controls.
yeah. Splatoon, like I think by default, and I think you always have some sort of motion aiming right in Splatoon. Yeah, from what I can remember.
And usually those guys that play with motion controls are really, really good.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank
Okay.
you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification icon, all that jazz. Anything else you'd like to say?
Thanks a lot for the conversation. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Peace out, team.